How are you doing? This is David W. Williams, also known as Diamond Dave, the founder of the highest paid part-time job in the world options training program. So let's get right into it. This is going to be our Sunday game sermon. We're going to kind of give you into the laws of game, help you get a better understanding of this world so you can be a more effective and productive person, really by kind of exposing you to things that a lot of y'all may have not been taught because you really weren't around the right people growing up. Because a lot of people that are really laced in this game and got a really good understanding of the game of life, they're at a minority. And what is pushed to the majority is a lot of people that really don't know what they're talking about, and they're looking to use what you don't know against you, right? And what we're trying to do is elevate you and to try to put you into a better level of understanding so you can be more effective. And you got another group of people where they're trying to use what you don't know against you. And we're going to kind of go into that in this particular audio/video. So the title of this is, why you need to be seasoned in this game, the benefits of being seasoned in this game. And what I mean by seasoned is that you have a certain level of experience through application where you understand what's going on. You understand like the conversation, you understand how things work. And it's going to be very difficult for somebody to communicate to you something that is incorrect that you're not going to pick up on. And so let me give an example of what I mean by that. So we have a educational system that's very much information based. It's about giving you a lot of information. And one of the reasons is because the job that a lot of people are really going to take is really not based on application. It's really based on information and memorizing information and things of that nature. However, if you go into the applied trades, you become an electrician, you become a plumber, you become a welder, you go into a lot of the applied trades. If you study how they educate people for those particular applied trades, there's classroom and there's also practical work. Because in reality, if you're going to be a plumber or an electrician, you have to apply what you're being taught in the field in real life. This is not going to be where you're just going to sit in a room and type into a computer, or you're going to sit around and have a whole bunch of conversations, or you're going to memorize information to teach other people to memorize information. If you're going to be an electrician, you have to be able to go into the field and apply what you've been taught, right, as a journeyman. And so what you got to understand is that once you go into the field and you get through certain scenarios and you've seen how certain setups work and you've actually practiced, right, what you've learned, you start to get seasoned as an electrician. Over time, there will be very few scenarios that you have not already been experienced to, because you'll start to realize I'm just seeing the same scenario over and over and over and over again. And then when you get around other electricians, you can start having conversations about those particular type of scenarios. And you know that they know that you know what you're talking about, and you know that they know what they're talking about because of your experience or because of your seasoning. So that's the benefit of seasoning. Many people are so in and out of different things so fast. Every 90 days, they're doing something different. They don't have any seasoning. So really what's inside their head is a lot of trivia, not information that they've been able to apply. They've memorized a lot of things that they can regurgitate with no application, or they have a bunch of trivia, right, that they've memorized with no application. And therefore, they don't really get a full benefit from it because they haven't really gone out in the world and tested their assumptions. I mean, many people will quote stuff to you on the internet that they've never done. It's just something that they memorized from somebody else and they assume is right because the person that told them was a quote unquote authority, but they never done it. So they don't know whether or not it's right. OK, so what I want to really try to do with this particular audio is appeal to you the benefit of being seasoned in what you're doing. Whatever it is, it don't have to be options trading. It can be anything that you're doing, right? The benefit of being seasoned, right? Because if what you're doing is something that's going to be beneficial to your life, well, then the more time that you spend in it and the more time that you spend applying it, the better you get at it, the larger your benefits should get. And so I really got inspired to do this audio because I was watching this video the other day and a guy was talking to somebody that had started a particular fund, and they were kind of asking them questions about some of the controversy around that fund. And we're not here to do a video on why the fund was bad or good because everybody has pretty much already covered that online. However, somebody in the comments made a statement that, well, if you're critical of this guy and what he's done, you don't really understand government and you don't understand business and you don't understand something else. And that was a very interesting comment to me because what I commented back was that if you have invested in this fund, an investment would be in quotes. The question you want to ask yourself is, one, is the dividend payout greater than the rate of inflation over the years that you've been in the fund? First question you want to ask yourself. So We're going to repeat that. Has the dividend payout, has that exceeded, right, the rate of inflation over the years that you've been in the fund? If it has not, when do you think it will? 2, has the shares, in quotes, of the fund, have they appreciated in value since you've been in the fund? Right? And if they have not, when do you think that they will? So has there been any increase in the appreciation of the shares that you bought? And those are the questions you want to ask yourself. Because if I'm going to interview somebody about a fund, that's where we start the questioning. I'm not going to ask about their personal life. I'm not going, because none of that stuff means anything to me. We're starting with return on the fund. Is the return greater or lower than the rate of inflation? Right? Anytime, like I say, that's why putting money in the bank is not necessarily the best thing, because what the return is you're going to get is not going to beat the rate of inflation. Same thing with the fund. Okay. Second thing. So I don't compare the fund to a bank. I compare the fund return to the rate of inflation. Right. Second thing, is there an appreciation on the shares? Because, for example, if you put money in Tesla over the past year, your share appreciation has been greater, right, than any bank or the rate of inflation. So even though Tesla doesn't pay a dividend, you did get appreciation on the value of the shares. You can immediately take those back to the market. They're liquid. You can sell it, get your money, and get out of the deal. So I would start the conversation off with those questions. But how come I can do that? Because I'm seasoned in this game. I understand the fundamentals of capital management. Don't present myself as an expert, but because I've actually done this in real life, if I'm going to talk to you about a fund and whether or not the fund was an appropriate or inappropriate place for people to put their money that desire a tangible return, not an emotional return, but a tangible return, right? So I'm looking at it from the perspective of people that want a tangible return, not an emotional return. So if I'm looking for a tangible return, then we started off with these specific questions about the return, inflation, appreciation of shares, how long it's going to take to get an appreciation, how long will the dividends exceed the rate of inflation based on the projected rate of inflation over the next 5 to 10 years. These are the kind of questions that we're going to ask. The personal life, yeah, I care less about that, because that doesn't have anything to do with the return on this actual pool of capital. Okay, so that's the benefit of seasoning. A person may be an expert in one area and then come into this particular area and be asking questions about fund management. And because they don't have any understanding of management of capital, then they don't know what questions they ask. And then they just go into the personal lane. Don't have anything to do with that. And it's not to be critical of anybody. That's how I would approach the situation, which is why I would never be in that situation, because people already know how I'm going to approach it. So I'm going to tell you a really, really quick story about the value of being seasoned. And I'm going to use myself, right, and use my life as a testimony to try to get you to understand the value of this. Because when you are in an area and you know through experience, not just through information, but experience, that you know what you're talking about, because of experience, not just through education or information, because you've actually done it, and you've done it over and over and over and over and over again. And you've been through the whole process multiple times. People have to deal with you differently, because they immediately start to figure out you do know what you're talking about. So then they got to change their whole way in which they approach the situation. And I'm gonna really get you to understand that. So follow me. I'm not going to ramble. We're all going to get to where we're going, but I'm going to use my life as a testimony to get you to understand this. About a year ago, almost the same time, about a year ago, I was in the options market. I was trading, and I was posting a lot of my trades on Facebook back when I had my old Facebook page. And one thing, I was posting a lot of my trades, and I was successful, especially the downside of the market. And I think it was the Macy's trade where they came out of earnings, and I knew they were going to tank earnings because I was bearish on retail even before COVID hit. Excuse me. And I remarked that I could get bigger gains. I just need more capital. And I think I posted that on Facebook maybe 2 or 3 times on 2 or 3 different trades that I was positive on. But I was like, these could be bigger trades if I just had more capital. And a sister I know through Facebook, she reached out to me, I want to say, a little bit later. And she says, hey, I might have the solution to your lack of capitalization, and would you be open to want to talk about it? Now, I didn't know her to be involved in finance. at all. Okay. So I knew her through social media, but which means I don't know her. But I didn't know her to be involved, did not know her at that time. Did not know her to be involved in finance or the banking system or to be a private lender or anything of that nature. But I was like, I'm open to talk about it, but I let her know that I'm not looking to join like any group or any organization, because a lot of times when people are pitching you an MLM, and I'm not here to down MLMs, but a lot of times when they're pitching you an MLM, they make it seem as if they got a solution to your problem. And then once you speak to them about it, then they're going to try to turn you into their MLM, and that's just how they're kind of taught how to prospect. They don't really a lot of times qualify people the right way. That's just my personal opinion. Therefore, I kind of expressed to her on the front end, like, I'm not looking to join a group of people. I have this specific problem, so I'm looking for a specific answer to this specific problem. She said, yeah, I understand. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send you some information about what the situation is, and then we can schedule a call later on. So I said, cool, send it to my email. So I gave her my email. She sent me the information. So I went and opened my email, later on, opened my email, looked at it, and it was a video of a guy talking. And he was talking about like Forex trading. And I'm not against Forex trading. I'm for all trading because it's all profitable and it's all lucrative if you know what you're doing. But he was talking about Forex trading. However, the way he was talking about it, I knew that it was like an MLM. Like I could tell by his speech patterns and the things that he was saying, I knew it was an MLM. The thing that really got me to kind of understand how they was moving. Well, in the video, the guy was talking about that they have access to pools of capital, right? He was like, we got access to pools of capital. And therefore, like, we can, I think, make your trades bigger. And then they also have it to where, I think they send signals. That's really big in Forex, where they like send signals and you trade based on their signals. So, the whole typical Forex MLM setup. So what it was, you got like a company, a home MLM, and you have affiliates of that kind of build their own teams, right? So they leverage what the home company is giving them, and they also like kind of build their own, value proposition USP into it. Okay, it's cool. So I kind of understand the offer. But what they did was they tried to send over these documents that they said were NDAs, that because they had access to capital and they have these particular lenders or pools of capital that they could tap into, and they were going to expose you to them on the call, you had to sign an NDA. So like, I guess you wouldn't tell people who their, capital locations were. Well, I immediately knew that was BS. It's BS. There's no such thing in the world that you're going through a broker or a lender and they have capital, but their capital locations are so secretive, you got to sign an NDA to get access to it. What they're trying to do is they're trying to create authority in you. Like I know the persuasion game. I know the marketing game. I know dark persuasion at a very deep level. I'm initiated. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to use an authority play where I'm going to present to you as I'm this authoritarian figure, and you're going to essentially commit to it. And then the people that I know commit to it, where they've already taken the first step, they've taken this first commitment step. So it's going to make it easier for them to take the next step. It's kind of like breadcrumbs, right? So when the monster is trying to get the person to come into the cave so they could kill him, they put a few breadcrumbs outside the cave, and every breadcrumb the person picks up, they're getting closer and closer to getting killed by the monster. If you don't take any of the breadcrumbs, you can never be killed by the monster. You're just going to see the breadcrumbs. You're going to keep going. Once you start picking up one breadcrumb, it's likely that you're going to pick up the second. It's likely you're going to pick up the third. Then once they get you inside the cave, they're going to kill you. So I understand this process. Like I said, is that, you're not dealing with a neophyte and you're not dealing with a layman. Okay. So I understand this process. So I expressed to the woman that, like, I'm not signing an NDA. And this situation does not require me signing an NDA, right? I think NDAs in most scenarios are ridiculous because if the person does present the information, the cat's out of the bag now. So then all you can do is try to sue them for damages. And if they don't have it, there's nothing you can get out of the person. Okay. But there's no such thing as a person is telling you that I have access to capital, But the where the capital is at is so secretive. If I expose it to you, you got to sign an NDA saying that you're not going to tell anybody. I knew what this was from the gate because, like I said, I'm seasoned in this game. So I knew what they were trying to do. So I expressed I'm not signing anything. All right. If they want to talk about it, we can talk about it. But I'm not going to sign anything. Right. That's not going to happen. And so what I was letting them know from the gate is that I'm not going to commit to you initially about this. So I'm literally trying to disqualify myself from the scenario, right? What she came back with, and this is not to talk about her because she was not wrong in this situation. We're talking about the situation. She was like, well, I'm going to still have the guy talk to you because I really felt like she really endeavored to try to help me, right? So I always want to be thankful to her from that because this was a sister really trying to help out a brother that she saw that, maybe I could help him in this and it could take his situation to the next level. So like I said before, it's not about down talking her. She wasn't wrong in this. What we're talking about is the overall situation. So I said, cool, I'll talk to him because now I'm intrigued because I want to see what are these guys really trying to run on people because I got an idea what it is. So now I'm getting in my old mindset of like, I want to see what this is really all about because I know how to handle. I know these dudes ain't more gamed up than me. So I know how to handle myself. So now I'm intrigued. Let me see what this is really all about. Right. So I told her, yeah, let's get on the call. Let's see what it is. So we booked the call. I got on the call with them like, a week later, 2 weeks later, whatever. And, when I got on the call, she called me. It was a 3-way, which I haven't done in like years. It was a 3-way. So, he on her line and then, I'm talking to them. So the guy kind of explains to me like, my name is so-and-so and so-and-so. And, tell me a little bit about yourself. So basic sales pitch, kind of get you to explain, tell your story. What's your problem? And then he tries to come in with the solution. All right. So basic sales opening. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Cool. So I go along with it. Like I say, I'm going to see where they're going to go with this. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So I explained to him, I'm a trader. I'm having, success in the markets. However, because of my limitations of capital, I don't have access to the capital I need to make the kind of trades that I need. And that's, an obstacle in what I'm trying to do to build this thing a lot bigger. So he said, okay, I understand what you're talking about. And he's like, well, we have access to capital. We can get you access to capital. And, we think that may be a solution to your problem. And we can get you like up to this particular amount of money. And I think he thought when he told me that, because like I said before, is that I saw that qualification process. I had not participated in it, didn't sign the NDA, which is like really their first step to qualifying me because they would have got me to essentially, I don't want to use the word subservient, but it's kind of like when you fill out an application for a college and they say, hey, the application fee is this amount of money. So not only are you going to pay them for the college, but you also are going to pay just to apply. And if they say, no, I don't believe you get your money back. What you've done is that they've psychologically conditioned you to like accept that they're superior on some level. And it's not a negative thing. It's part of them selling you on that college. Right. So I had not agreed to go along with that. So then what happened is I don't think he might have been aware of that, or he just really wasn't savvy in what he was trying to do because he would have known then that I wasn't really a qualified or I was not a good prospect for that offer. So I think when he told me about the amount of money that they had available and that they could give me the money, he thought I was going to just get really excited and I was going to be ready to move forward. And I said, okay, I understand what you're saying, but I need to ask you some questions about it. And I said, for you to get me access to this capital, because I knew it was a loan. I know I'm not dealing with a bunch of black people. And the guy was, I'm assuming he was black by his voice and his dialect and the fact that I know this sister. I don't think she running with a bunch of Anglo-Saxons. I don't know a lot of black people that got like, a lot of capital just to be loaning out to people. That's capital that they have control over. I think there's probably less than 10 private equity black firms in the country. And one thing I know is that because I spent so much time consulting with black owned businesses and what kind of got me into the markets is our biggest challenge is lack of capital. And it's something that nobody really wants to deal with is lack of capitalization. And it's a major problem that nobody wants to talk about. Right. And it's because the average person doesn't even really understand it. They can't wrap their head around it. And we have discussions about everything else except that, which is one of our biggest issues is lack of capitalization. When you look at a guy like Bezos, when he starts Amazon, and Bezos is he's a Cuban, but he's a certain type of Cuban. I think it starts with a G. It's Gustavos. I forgot how you say it. I could Google it. But he's able to reach out to his parents to start Amazon and get $250,000. Then he's able to reach out to his network and get $50K, right? He didn't go to a bank. He didn't go to some people outside of his network to get capitalized. That is a problem for a lot of black people because we don't have access to that capital because of a lot of historical situations, and a lot of institutions don't want to give us access to capital for a lot of different reasons. A lot of times your zip code is the reason why they don't want to give you any money. So I know that this is a major problem for black people, especially black owned businesses. And I know that there's very few black firms that can tie you into capital. Okay, so I understand that there's something that's going to have to come along with it. What I know that he's a go-between. So what I asked him was that, so what are they going to be the application fees? What are going to be the origination fees? And what are going to be the monthly service fees for you to get me access to this capital? And those were questions that he never imagined I would ask those questions. Because once I asked those questions, see, those questions were appropriate to the situation. I didn't ask that guy what is the success rate of everybody that you've got loans from? That would be inappropriate to the situation. So seasoning, part of being seasoned is what questions to ask to get the right answer. Part of not being seasoned and being a neophyte and being uninitiated is you don't know what questions to ask to get the right answer. So when you get a guy on an interview, you start talking about a fund that he built that's supposed to be about getting a return on real estate investments. You start asking about his personal life. Got nothing to do with the fund. Got nothing to do with the returns. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? However, many times a person is going to communicate to you based on where they think you're at. So when a person will get in front of us and we start talking about returns on capital, they start spinning a founder story. They start spinning a story about nostalgia, black nostalgia. However, if they go sit down in front of Goldman Sachs, they got to start talking numbers because Goldman Sachs don't care anything about black nostalgia. So what they're doing is they're saying, what do we think can help us make a connection to get these people to identify with what we're doing? And they understand that we're dealing with an unsophisticated and an unlaced and an unseasoned audience in the area of capital management. So we're not even going to talk about capital management. We're going to talk about everything else but that, because that's what's going to impress them. If we just come up and start talking about the returns on capital, our projections, yada, 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 they won't even understand the questions to ask to even investigate the scenario. And then the people that supposedly have expertise in this area, they don't even ask these questions. So this is why black people have so many issues in this particular area, but we don't want to sidetrack it. So when I asked about those questions, the application fee, the origination fee, the monthly service fee, he immediately understood that this guy kind of understands what's going on. Well, why? Because I had been in business for 10 years before I ever ran into this dude. Now, unlike a lot of the people on YouTube, I'm not an 8-figure, 9-figure earner. I know everybody on the internet is an 8-figure, 9-figure, 7-figure earner. I've never been that. But I have been involved in business, right? And going out into the market and making my money in the market as opposed to through a job 100% of the time, right? For almost over a decade. And so I kind of understood what questions to ask when somebody comes to you and tell you that they're getting ready to sell you money, because all they're doing is selling you money. Nobody gives you money like that unless they're part of your immediate network. Most people are looking to sell you money. So my question, if you're selling me money, what are going to be the fees attached to you selling me this money? And then because I know you really are not the direct person in front of the door to the money, then the question is, right, for you being a broker to the person who may be sitting in front of the door to the money, or you may be the broker to the person who's sitting in front of the door to the money, right? What's going to be your buy rate on the loan? And so then when I started asking those kind of questions, he understood I knew the space, right? Now he started answering those questions, and you know what came out? Because like I said, I was intrigued. That's why I went through this whole process. I was like, let me see what these dudes are really on. You know what came out through the discovery process? Really what they were running was a credit repair offer. That's really what they were running. Because I asked him, well, explain to me your process of me getting this loan. So once he explained the fees, what's your process? Explain the process to me. Really what they're running is a credit repair offer. So really what they do is they take you first. See, before they even start talking about getting you the loan, they take you, they run your credit. If your credit is not above a certain number, you'll never qualify to get a loan with the institutions that they have relationships with. So then what they do now is they sink you into a credit repair offer where you pay them so many thousands of dollars and they repair your credit. Then after they repair your credit, then they go back to the institutions that they have a relationship with. And then they give you a loan and you pay the application fee, the origination fee, the monthly service fee, and you pay their business loan broker fee where they take points off the loan. You understand me? So that's really what they were doing. And because they're pointing this at a black audience, we know that black people, especially poor and working class black people, many of us don't have the best credit score. This meant it was a good pool. So they're telling you we can expand your business with capital, but in reality, it's a credit repair offer. We get paid on that up front. So even if you don't go all the way through the process, or you don't, even if we fix your credit and you still can't get capital at a rate that's acceptable to you, because even if they say, hey, we can get you approved, it don't mean I like the numbers. It doesn't mean I like the terms. I don't like these terms. Well, we can't get you any better terms. Well, okay, then that's the end of the deal. But they still got paid for the credit repair because that's what they get a flat fee for. So everything else is contingent upon me getting the loan, but they still get paid for the credit repair. And they have to sink you through this credit repair process for you now to get to the next step process of getting the loan. So I told the guy, no, I'm not a good candidate for that. Because we unveiled what you're really, so now when we watched when they sent me the email with the video, they never talk about this being a credit repair offer. They've added this on to the scenario, and I'm not against it. It might be appropriate for the right person. I'm not the right person for this. So my question is, what did I need to sign an NDA for you doing a credit repair offer? Right? But they put all that in there to make you think it's something that it's not. Okay? So then the sister, when I told him like, no, I don't think I'm a good candidate for what you got going on. When the sister told him, or when I said that, the sister was like, well, we got something else that you may be a good candidate for. So-and-so, do you want to talk to him about that? Then the second thing that they came at me with was that we invest pools of money and, we've been able to get a certain amount of return. I think he said a 12% rate of return yearly on our capital by investing it. And so you have the opportunity to give us a certain amount of money and we'll invest it on your behalf and we'll give you 12% every year. Well, I said, well, what is the minimum that I can give you to get into this particular capital pool? He said $50K. I say, man, you don't want $50K of my money. I just know you through the phone. You don't want $50K of my money, bro. I don't want to give you $50K of my money because I don't know you like that. And you don't want $50K of my money. That's not what we don't want to do that. Okay. So I said, I'm not a good candidate for that because there's no way in the world I'm gonna give you $50K of my money. And I don't know you. I don't know you from the cat in the hat. This is not going to happen. And I wouldn't want to give you $50K of my, I wouldn't want to put you in that position where you got $50,000 of my money. You understand me? So I said, I'm not a good candidate for that. And so what we found is that because I understood how these scenarios work, because I was actually seasoned, I knew what questions to ask. Many of you don't know what questions to ask. You just maybe at best know consumer questions. And then you go into an investing space and you asking consumer questions about an investing space, or you're asking personal questions in an investing space, or you're dealing with an electrician and you're asking questions about things that don't have anything to do with electricity. And it's just because the fact that you're really not seasoned in the game, right? And so this is the benefit of being seasoned, because I had spent over a decade in business. And to be very frank with you, I talked about this earlier, I got into the markets. When I got into the markets, I was studying private equity in Africa. I was studying private equity in Africa when I got into the markets and really started studying the stock market, because I was trying to figure out how to solve this problem. How can we have so many black businesses that are undercapitalized? And we can't even go to Africa to get capital because of the exchange rate. Because we come from a country where even though the dollar is declining in value, it's still way more valuable than the currencies of a lot of other countries because of the U.S. military. So we can't even say, hey, I'm going to go to Nigeria and I'm going to get their currency and I'm going to bring it back to the United States. That won't work. We can't say how I'm going to go to Kenya and I'm going to get their currency and I'm going to bring it back to the United States for capital projects. You know, we're going to do, I forgot what you call it, like a CapEx situation. We can't do that because with the exchange rate, their currency is still going to be worth less than the US dollar. So I was trying to figure out how do we deal with this particular issue where we got so many black businesses that are undercapitalized and nobody with all these PhDs and people that got degrees from all these quote unquote prestigious PWI universities, none of them can figure out how to solve this problem. They can sell you their stuff, but they can't deal with this problem. So the problem is always dealt with on an individual level, but it's never, we're going to move in this particular direction to solve this problem. And it's because they don't have an answer. And so what I realize is that these people don't have answers for us. We got to try to figure out our own answers, because with all these Negroes that we've pushed out of these PWI institutions with degrees in economics and finance and business, none of them have been able to figure out how to solve this problem because they're a byproduct of their education, which means that they don't have solutions for us. They only have solutions for other people. Now, they have an individual solution for their business, but they really don't have a solution for other people, right? And you got to understand that. So that's what I was doing before I ever got into the markets. And I spent a long time studying that. How do we try to solve this particular problem? So when you get me into a scenario where people start talking about, well, we're going to give you access to capital, you know, I know that that comes with a price attached to it. It doesn't come with, and then I know that they, because of the historical situation in this country, they're rarely going to be the person standing in front of the door to the money. Normally, they're standing in front of somebody else who may also be standing in front of somebody else that's actually standing in front of the door to the money. And there's going to be a fee attached to each one of those people to get to the money. So you got to add all that in before you get excited about how much money they say they can get you access to. Because like I said, they're not standing in front of the door to the money. So somebody else has to agree, right? For somebody else to has to agree for them to give you access to the money. It's the same way when you go to a car dealership. I never let a car dealership finance me. Why? I go directly to the bank because that's all they're going to do anyway. So you're paying a car dealership a loan fee to finance you through an institution because you don't want to go directly to the institution. So when I had got a car loan years ago, I got a car loan from my credit union. I went to my credit union. I secured capital first. Then I went and go look for a car. What most people do is they go look for a car to figure out how they're going to secure capital. I already went and got my capital secured. So then when I went to the car lot to get the car, the chick going to come out the office telling me something, well, we can get you a good rate. I said, I already got that taken care of. What we going to do is we're going to negotiate the price of the car. Right? Because I took the car to a mechanic. We found out there was some issues with the car. So I said, I'm not going to pay this price, but this is what I give y'all for the car if y'all want me to take this car off your lot. And then I can have my bank send y'all a cashier's check for the value of the car. I had already had my finances secured. I walked in the door with secure financing. Right? And this is way before I had even been in business. I did this when I was a youngster because I understood process and procedure. You got to do things in the right order. So I knew that these people at this particular car lot, they don't have access to no money. They got to go through somebody else. And then they're going to want to pay me. That lady in that office, she gets paid an administrative fee for doing her work. That's how she get paid. And she gets paid, you know, based on how much money she can get you. So she don't really have an incentive to get me the best deal on the car. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? So being seasoned in this game, there's very much a value to that. And I want to really encourage you, whatever you're doing, do it and actually go and apply it in the world. Are you going to make mistakes? Yes. Are you going to do some things wrong? Yes. But you're going to learn from it. And then once you get into certain situations, you're going to know how to go about it. You're going to understand the process. You're going to understand the procedure. You're going to also understand what questions to ask. Why? Because you've gone through it so many times. Well, a lot of times people come to us and they're testing us on what we know about it by saying certain things to us. And based on how we respond and how we react, then they kind of determine how they're going to deal with us. Okay. And what made this guy get into not a bad situation with me, but made him get into a situation with me is that he should have known off the gate when I rejected signing the NDA that I knew what time it was. But I don't think he was really seasoned in what he was doing. So then he kept trying to give me the offer when I already showed him that I wasn't a good candidate for what he was doing because I didn't sign the NDA off the gate. I'm not signing that. For what? There is no such thing as secret capital, right? And from what you're doing, there's no such thing. Because if why are the people that are trying to keep capital secret going to give you access to it? I know the people that are trying to keep their capital pool secret. They're not going to give you access to it, right? Part of their game and how they're dominating the world is that you're not going to ever have access to it. So you telling me that you have access to secret capital, they told you, but you need me to keep it a secret. Okay. So I want you to really understand this, and hope I didn't ramble. Hope this didn't go too long, but I wanted to kind of use my experience as a testimony to kind of really get you to understand this. Get seasoned in what you're doing. Get some experience in what you're doing. Become an expert at how things work in your particular area through experience, not just through I read this in a book, or I memorized this, or so-and-so told me this. And it'll help you because now when you have to go and utilize this in the real world, you'll know exactly what's going on, and it'll help you get the results that you desire, right? And it'll help you take you to that next level. So this is David W. Williams, also known as Diamond Dave. If you got any questions, hit me up in the comments. Share it, like, subscribe. Let me get those subs. If you listen to this, I need more subs. Let me get those subs or send it out to somebody else that you know might sub. This is David W. Williams, also known as Diamond Dave. Talk to you later.